What is going on, Fleet Nation? Welcome to episode 47, and I'm Brendan.
And I am Jared. Welcome back. We know we were riding the highs of last week, but we're crashing down to earth with this episode 47. Giants and Jets both lost in week 3, and we're here to talk about that, even through the pain, even through the sadness. But first, Brendan, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I was hanging out, having a good time, watching some football. What about you, Jared? How are you doing?
Doing good. I had my grandma's 80th surprise birthday. It was a great showing. A fan from Rhode Island came up. She was surprised. Great time. I made some bread, filming some weddings. Got a nice payment from doing that. But got a chance to watch Monday Night Football last night, and I would say there was a lot of ups and downs. A lot of ups and downs in that game. Why don't I just get right into it then? The Cowboys and Giants, Monday Night Football, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. Just felt like a Fox Sunday 1 p.m. broadcast, but it was very, very close until the fourth quarter when it all came crashing down. My takeaways from the game is our O-line is still not good at all. That was the most Daniel Jones was ever pressured in his career, and we've had some bad O-lines. This was supposed to be one of our best. Andrew Thomas still doing great, but Evan Neal looks like a rookie. Looks like maybe made the wrong pick. I know it was too early for Andrew Thomas when we made that declaration that he would be a bust, and he's looking great now. So I'm giving Evan Neal a pass for this year, but he's got to step it up. Feliciano, man, I see him getting pancaked and getting flagged for being down the field all the time. So the Cowboys defense, they just rushed at us and didn't give Daniel Jones enough time. And I don't blame this game on Jones at all. I mean, he did everything he could, and Barkley did great as well. It's just that O-line part. And our defense couldn't stop the run. Zeke and Tony Pollard were running all over us. Um, and that's what cost us in the fourth quarter, too. We couldn't stop them. And they ran out the clock pretty much. So, Graham Gano is still doing great things. That's a positive. I put the over on 6.5 total points. Nailed that easily. And one of the sad things, Sterling Shepard out with ACL after having Achilles injury last year on a scary non-contact injury, tears his ACL, and that was Jones's guy. That's our guy, but wishing him good luck. Maybe this opens up room for Tony, and just feel bad for Shep because he's just doing great. He had a great performance these first 3 games, but the Giants, Daniel Jones in prime time, that's what happened. It's not on Jones this game, in my opinion. It's not. It's not on the coaching either. It's the lack of O-line and the lack of a D-line, honestly.
So, Jared, who do you blame the most on the Giants' offensive line from last night's game?
Probably Neal. I mean, look, the Demarcus Lawrence, man, he had like 3 sacks, and the pressure, man, it's just every other second I replay of like a rush, you see Neal looking the other way, and that's supposed to be our top pick. The 5th overall pick in the NFL draft, and he's not contributing like he should have. And so I'm gonna go with the O line. I mean, we had our shot to win. Barkley was doing his thing, but if you gave Daniel Jones a couple more seconds here and there, he was completing those nice medium to short passes, and we were marching down the field sometimes. It's just it gets to a point where you can't make a play if you're scrambling all the time. Jones has over 1,000 yards from scrimmage in his career now, and that's mostly to the fact that his O-line forces him to run. There's not many designed runs for Jones. There's a couple here and there, but the majority of his long runs come from, the O-line breaking down and Jones scrambling away, getting a first down. So I'm going to give the D-line a pass because it was Aziz and our third-round pick, Kayvon's first game back, trying to get their feet wet. And, the Cowboys are notorious for their O-line and run game. So I'm blaming the O-line on this one.
I gotta agree with you. I mean, you got Evan Neal. You drafted him fifth over or seven or no fifth over. Wait, am I
Fifth,
tweaking? Hold on.
I think the
Tweaking.
Giants had 3 and 5. Pretty
No. You had 5 and 7. You drafted him seventh overall. You got Tibbs
right,
fifth, 5, and then you got
right.
Neal 7.
Jets were 3rd.
Jets were 4th with Sauce. We were right before you, but yeah. So you go out there, you get the offensive blue chip prospect. One of our I liked Ike Ekwonu a lot. I think he was my number one heading into this, and he was really high on the Jets board. But the Giants have that connection with Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. So for them to go out there and get Evan Neal was well respected in the offseason. But for him to allow 3 sacks in the Giants' first loss, that's pretty terrible. And there's 5 sacks on Jones. And I saw some stat, I can't record it from off the top of the head, but it was the worst offensive line play with the most amount of pressures in quite some time. And what was that stat? Do you know what that stat is?
All the stat I know is that it was the most times Jones was ever pressured in his career, which is 24, 25 times, which is not a good.
So, and could you imagine if the Giants had someone that wasn't as athletic? Because we know that Jones can evade the pocket. We know that he can use his legs and bootleg and move around. But could you imagine if you had a statue, like a Joe Flacco? Would he have been able to make it out of that game?
Not at all. I mean, Jones had 196 yards passing, and that's without a pass over 25 yards. And his rushing, we rushed for 79 yards. He was our second leading rusher. So Jones played pretty well for the most part. Threw 1 pick, but that was at the end of the game. And freaking David So slipped, and that's pretty much the end of the game for us. But I'm looking at these stats, and Jones likes to distribute this ball. Shepard 5 for 49, Barkley 4 for 45, Bellinger 4 for 40, Richie James 4 for 36, Sills 2 for 20. I mean, the Giants, there's a way. Oh, and I see here Kenny Galladay 0 for 0. Don't even get me started with Kenny Galladay, man. The man wants to play. We put him out there, drops 3 freaking passes in the whole game. So I'm just done with him. If this is his time to step up now with Shep gone. I mean, he was looking at wide receiver number 4, but now with Shep gone, he could easily go back to being the threat. I don't even Tiggs wasn't even covering him during this game. That was the guy you thought the top cornerback from the other team would have to come in and guard, but not anymore. And that just sucks. That's a waste of $70 million the Giants could have kept. And, maybe signs an O lineman in free agency instead of relying on the draft all these years. Look, that's this Joe Schoen's first draft class. O tackles, it's hard to judge in the first year. As we saw, Andrew Thomas is one of the best tackles this season according to Pro Football Focus already. So give it time with Neal. But it was just sloppy. We had our chances that game, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty sad. I was sad.
No, and I understand why you would be sad. You guys started off this season 2-0 and start off high. You're going up against a divisional rival. All the Giants fans know how much they hate the Cowboys. All the Cowboys fans know how much they hate the Giants. And it's on a primetime stage, Monday Night Football at home. And I mean, and it was hard. You lost Shepard, and you saw Odell come out and tweet and blame the turf. And we all know that the MetLife turf has claimed numerous injuries across the league. So terrible to see Shepard go down. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Him being out for the season, no good. And, it was a non-contact injury. He tore the ACL. It's crazy how that even happened. Maybe he, tweaked the ligament as he planted his foot prior, and it took some time for the reaction to happen. That's my guess. If I were, I'm not a bio major. I don't know, but if I were to take a guess, that's what I would say. And for him to leave, definitely it harms your offense, in my opinion, because he is one of those players that He's a giant. He knows how to get the ball. He knows how to get open. He can dance around defenders, and
Mm-hmm.
he's in the trenches, not afraid to get hit, and very fun to watch, and a good selection as well, a good part of your culture. One of the very few
Yep.
Giants that are remaining that were
He's
here
the
for a
longest
while.
tenured Giant.
Yeah, longest
He is
tenure Giant.
longest tenured Giant. It just sucks for him. Like you can see the team, gather around him when the cart came out. Um, I honestly just feel bad for him. I honestly just feel bad.
I feel bad for Shep too. Get well, Shep.
Get well, Shep.
Rehab, and hopefully you come back strong. And we all know that he'll be
Hopefully,
here.
hey,
He'll be back.
hopefully the Giants come back strong this Sunday. They play the Bears, and this is a game of the quarterbacks who don't throw over 200 yards. Fields versus Jones at MetLife. I think this is a very winnable game for us. The Bears are pretty sure 2-1 as well, because of their win. But if you saw what the Bears did the last weekend against the Sunday against the Texans, they barely squeaked out a win. Justin Fields looked pretty awful. 2 interceptions, 106 yards. And it was really Khalil Herbert with 157 yards and 2 TDs that carried the Bears. So, look, and David Mills put up 245 yards on their head. So I honestly expect a Giants win, and I think their first 2 wins were really close games. The first missed field goal, the Panthers game, it was like a fourth quarter. They had to stop Baker from coming back. I think that the Giants win by more than a touchdown against the Bears. I do. I think they're at MetLife, and I think they're a better team than the Bears.
I think the Giants are a better team than the Bears. I think you guys can get this win for sure. I think Dable is going to rally the troops, get ready to get another win. Giants fans are popping out. Shout out to the Giants fans. Monday Night Football looked electric. I know
It was
Saquon was hyped to be back, seeing the whiteout again.
Uzi was in the sidelines.
Uzi was on the sidelines.
It was a vibe. It was a vibe, and we let the fans down. So they're not on whiteout Monday. So we can't let them down 2 weeks in a row. So watch out for the Giants putting on a clinic against the Bears.
I think they will. I think that they're going to get the job done. I think we need to get Evan Neal to get back in his comfort zone, and going up against this defense. I mean, I think he'll be able to play better. He doesn't have to worry about the Cowboys defense that put on a show. And just taking a glance, I mean, they're going to have to go around. He's going to have to go up against Justin Jones, and they got Angelo Blackson, they got all Quadin Muhammad off the edge, and safeties Nicholas Murrow and Jaquan Brisker, he's good. Eddie Jackson, he's good. So I mean, definitely some players out there, not notable by name, household names wise, but they you can't sleep on them. NFL team, they found a way to get a dub this season. But I think at home with the electricity of the fans, with some going over some film, you guys can get it done for sure. I like the Giants odds.
Yes, sir. All right, Brandon, it's time to talk about your Jets. Take it away.
So New York Jets going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, and as we all know, the Jets were 1-0 up against Joe Burrow in MetLife, with courtesy to the famous Mike White game. But Mike White was not at the helm this time around. It was 37-year-old Joe Flacco, and he was not playing nowhere near as well as he played the week prior against the Cleveland Browns. It looked much like the first week when we went up against the Ravens, and there's just a lot of stuff I want to talk about. First of all, I want to address the the Quinnen Williams, or not Quinn, bro. I can't.
I saw that.
Not Quinnen Williams. Quincy Williams. Williams' injury. Hopefully it gets better. I do not know the status on it right now, but that wasn't fun to see. But I want to circle back to him in a second, because there's some stuff I want to address about Quincy Williams. But overall, I mean, we just couldn't compete with this team. The Bengals came to play. This was a very crucial game for the Cincinnati Bengals. They fell 0-2. I know Burrow deleted his social medias. He took it very seriously. He knew that this really mattered for him.
Yeah,
And
if he lost against the Jets, it would be a bad look for them.
I mean, he just went to the Super Bowl. He's got a lot riding on his shoulders, and he needed that win more than we needed it. And he went out there, he executed, he won the turnover battle. I want to talk about Mr. Sauce Gardner, really, defending his touchdown stat. He hasn't given up the touchdown yet, and he locked down Jamar Chase in the end zone and topped it off with a nice snow angel celebration. I thought was really cool.
Saw that.
And I just love the man's length in the backfield. I love how he's able to post up these huge body receivers that have great ball location skills. And he's very symmetrical with his placement, with his body placement, especially where the ball is going to go. We know that this guy's going to be good. And he's out there and he's really, really showing it. The thing that I didn't really like that the Jets did was we were doing a lot of zone coverage, but I think that the Bengals were able to adapt to Saleh's play calling, and they did a lot of man-to-man. That's where they were able to find they're able to find a lot of guys open, and there were some plays that we gave up too. We gave up a 50-plus yard touchdown. I think Quan Alexander was to blame there. He tried hit sticking instead of wrapping up. So some things that we need to clean up.
Was that Boyd?
Yeah, Boyd got it, that touchdown. So there's some things that we need to clean up that I know. Pretty sloppy performance, and Joe Flacco throwing 2 picks, I believe. I mean, I'm almost positive it was 2 picks.
Yep.
And we couldn't get in the end zone. So us not being able to get into the end zone was not good. But I think in the beginning, there was some fight. I mean, Saleh won the initial challenge that reduced a touchdown to a field goal, which was some momentum. We also got a fumble on Jamar early on. So if we got in the end zone, this could have been a much different score, but we just weren't able to execute.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we said week 1. Joe Flacco throwing a lot of yards, but not executing it. 285 yards. I mean, you're not going to see Daniel Jones with that type of, numbers in the air. But the glaring thing was 2 picks. The Bengals, their defense showed up last year. They have some names. Jesse Bates, the third, with one of those picks. Logan Wilson with the other pick. And, it wasn't like the Bengals put on a show. I mean, Burrow threw 3 touchdowns. Their running game, you limited their run really well. Joe Mixon, 12 carries, 24 yards. So that's a positive for you guys. But you gave up 105 to Boyd and 93 to T. Higgins. So, and was Gardner on Jamar Chase?
It was a mix. So it depended on what kind of play they were running. I think in the post, Garner helped out. He also was spying, but I saw a lot of reps of DJ Reed getting chased. So I think in the slot, Garner was in the slot. It was DJ, and then in the post, it was Sauce.
Regardless, they limited Jamar Chase to 6 receptions for 29 yards. So, there's definitely some positives to take away from this game, but it is just the lack of execution. I mean, your running was non-existent, 39 yards for each of your running backs, and your top receiver was Tyler Conklin, and the backup tight end, the CJ. I mean, maybe he's taking first team reps now, but CJ Uzomah, the former Bengal who was in the Super Bowl with them, only 1 catch for 5 yards. So the Jets, they are, I think, turning the page, because another thing you're probably going to talk about is Zach Wilson coming back Sunday, possibly, right? Or is it confirmed at this point?
It's not confirmed. We're going to wait till tomorrow. I think we're going to get the news, the final say tomorrow, but all signs are trending that Zach Wilson will be at the helm in Pittsburgh, which I'm excited to see this guy back. Now, obviously, Flacco had that one miraculous comeback win, but aside from that, and aside from him able to push the ball down the field, he's not able to move around the line of scrimmage. He's not able to maneuver in the pocket. He is not where the current NFL is. We drafted Zach Wilson second overall for a multitude of reasons, and one of them is that, and that's a huge one. And his ability to throw off platform, move around, find open guys, extend plays, that's why we drafted him. And I think that with him coming back, with him returning up against a Steelers defense, which should not be taken lightly in the least. I mean, they're missing TJ Watt, which definitely helps us. He's out for the season. That definitely helps us on the offensive side of the ball, especially the line and with protection. But I'm excited. Hopefully he can come back. Hopefully that he actually is 100% healthy. The Jets have had issues with medical history in the past by rushing athletes back on the field. I think that the New York Jets are aware of that and are trying to fix that issue here in our system and everything. So
Yeah.
I think Zach needs to be 110% healthy before he touches the field. He needs to be evaluated, and if he does, overall, I just want to see him command the offense and go through his progressions. I don't want to see him look as impulsive and as nervous as he may have looked in the preseason. I mean, he threw a pick. One of his first couple plays, he threw a pick. I want to see him very calm, very poised, very relaxed. And I think that Mike LaFleur needs to make an accommodating game plan for him. He needs to do a lot of simple checkdowns, kind of like a run-first offense, give a lot of looks to Brees and Michael Carter in a rotation, tire out the defensive line. And you got to give the ball to Garrett Wilson. That Wilson to Wilson connection must be brewing early. Garrett Wilson, just to talk about his stats really quickly, he's had 214 yards. He's averaging 11.9 yards per reception and carry, and then he has 2 touchdowns so far. So we're really liking what he's doing. He was nominated as Rookie of the Week. He's balling out. He's looking like our wide receiver 1. So I want to see chemistry. I want to see Zach Wilson go out there, distribute the ball, chemistry, and I want to see him go through his progressions. And if he can do that, I'm going to be a happy man.
Yeah, I'm glad the Jets didn't, when Wilson initially went down, there was reports that, in 4 weeks he should be fine to play week 1. But, as soon as week 1 was around the corner, the Jets decided to keep it safe. Zach Wilson decided to keep it safe. And I think they've did their due diligence to push it back 3 weeks. I mean, the Jets weren't really in a position to compete for a playoff spot this year. I think they knew that. So it wasn't like they're dying to get their QB1 back out there for the first week. So I think the time, if he's feeling all right, is now. And I want Wilson to play like he did at BYU. I want to see that Baker Mayfield in him, a little bit. That run around the field and sling the ball of 60 yards to like Wilson. That's what I want to see, because he looked like a fun athlete. And he's got a pretty good core around him, 2 good running backs in Carter and Hall. And receiving, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis. I mean, they're pretty good receivers around him, even in tight end, Conklin and Uzma. So, and don't forget Barrios, who was his favorite target last year, who's, not taking as many reps. But look, Zach Wilson should give this offense a much needed lift, and maybe you can start executing more by him using his legs to get that first down, or to scramble into the end zone potentially. Those touchdowns you were missing last week.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Hopefully Zach Wilson's able to do that and prove Florham Park and Jets Nation why he was taken 2nd overall.
And you guys got the Steelers, like you said. Steelers defense, no joke, even with TJ Watt gone. I would take the Steelers. I think the Steelers are, it's just historic the way they are coached. They had a close game against the Patriots. They beat the Bengals.
Lost to the Browns recently. Yep.
Yeah, lost to the Browns. But I don't know. The Steelers at home, it's tough. It's tough. So I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see why you would go with the Steelers at home. I think that the odds are going to definitely be in their favor. I'm sure they already are. And I mean, I'm going to just rock with my team just because I think that there's a lot of bias in that. I think right now, lining up non-biasedly, I think that you got to give the edge to the Steelers, but I'm going to ride with my team. I'm going to hope, with my fingers crossed, that Zach comes back healthy. He looks healthy. He stays healthy. And he's able to lead this New York Jets team to a even record, 500, 2-2. And these are the games that the Jets need to win, right? Like, the Steelers are pretty compatible to where we are as an organization right now. They're just drafted a young quarterback that is not going to be called in as far as we're concerned. Mitch will be there. And we have young players around at the receiving end. We have young players around in the defensive end. And I know that Heinz Field, not Heinz Field anymore, but whatever it is, I know it's going to be packed. And I know that they're going to have fans out there and it's going to be a hostile environment. But if Rob Saleh wants to keep his coaching job, he needs to find a way to win these games. It's not like we're going up against the Bills. It's not like we're going up against a top-tier team.
Would you say the Dolphins?
Or Dolphins. But he needs to go out there and get it done somehow.
What would be an ideal stat line for Zach Wilson if he returns?
Ideal or like what is going to happen?
Do you give what you want to happen?
What I want to I'll do both. I'll do what I want to happen, and then I'll do what I think is going to happen. I don't think he's going to go out here and throw 300 yards. I think he's going to – I mean, I can't say 300 yards because I don't see that happening. Ideal would be 270, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a win.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen is it might be 180, a touchdown and a pick. That's probably what's going to happen.
How many rushing do you think?
Probably 26. I don't think he's going to be scrambling like crazy. I think the Jets are going to want to keep those legs fresh, and they're not going to take any chances. They don't want any delayed hits. They don't want any, cutbacks like he did before. I think we need to start preparing his mind and make sure that he gets those mental reps that he's the quarterback. And I want to see him move around when need be, but not just for hero ball. He needs to command the offense. He needs to go through his progressions. He needs to play the quarterback position.
I think the Jets, what would help Zach Wilson is just to get a lead at first. That way he doesn't have to play hero ball. Like if they just go down on the first drive and get 7 points, and then maybe kick a field goal, be up 10-0. I feel like that relaxes the quarterback a bit, and that could be useful for Wilson.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to see the culture, the energy around this team. And I'm excited to see if he brings that juice, that it factor to the locker room. I know that he had a very eventful offseason, and and I know that he also, was having his boys pop out to Idaho, and that's the stuff that you want to see. Him inviting all the offensive players and allowing them to gel, do water sports, play golf, run some routes on the turf. Like that stuff matters. And he showed that he could be a leader, but I need to see that he can win. And it's a big year for Zach Wilson, and hopefully all things can come together. So thank you guys for listening to episode 47 of the NY Fly Zone podcast. Make sure to listen, subscribe, share every single Wednesday at 12. So make sure to share it with your friends at NY Fly Zone, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
Yes, sir. And we had the reels going up pretty much daily. We got the takes, we got some of our best moments of the podcast, but there's way more moments than that. So you got to listen to it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. There's a little delay at Apple Podcasts. That's their fault, not our fault. But definitely around 1 p.m. it'll be on Apple Podcasts. But hope you liked it, and peace.
Peace.